If you guys have questions as we are going along, please feel free to either put them in the chat if you're able to. Sometimes it doesn't let you in the chat, or post it in the Q&A as well. And I will definitely answer your questions. If you are watching live on Facebook, feel free to hop on into the webinar to ask a question. Let me see if I can put that in here. Let me paste the link in here. So if you guys are watching live on Facebook and you want to join us here right in the webinar, hop right in. If you're new to the group, comment in the chat or pop it in the Q&A. Let's see. I want to make sure the chat isn't disabled. Sometimes it's disabled. Attendees can chat with everyone. There we go. Okay, you guys should be able to comment in the chat now. If you are joining us and this is your first time you've been on one of these lives, comment, say first time in the chat box. And same if you're watching this on Facebook. We go live every Tuesday at 11 a.m. Central Time right here in the Have Your Cake and Eat It Too community. All right, this is Lee's first time and Micah. Awesome. I love how you spell your name. That's pretty. Oh, great. So many first timers, Isabel and Heather and Teresa, Jamie. Good to see you guys. I love whenever I have new people in here. So these lives are very interactive. I am here to explain to you guys, what your opportunities are for changing the way you live your life so that you can live the life that you've been dreaming of. And that's what this whole group is about. So we call it Have Your Cake and Eat It Too, because we teach you how to live the lifestyle that you want, how to spend, as much time with your kids as you want, be the kind of parent that you want to be, but also building wealth and supporting your family financially. So you don't have to choose between the two. You can actually have both. And that's what this community is all about, showing you how you can have your cake and eat it too. And what we do for that is we help you learn how to build an online bookkeeping business that you can do from home. And the beauty of it is that you make $100 an hour or more by offering fixed price packages. And you have the flexibility of working at any time of the day or night, any day of the week, weekdays, weekends, whatever works best with your schedule. And because you're able to make $100 an hour, you can work often 4 times less than you are at a corporate job and still bring in the same amount of money for your family and have all that extra time to spend with your kids. So what I love to do is keep these really interactive. If you've got any personal questions that you've maybe, if you've read my ebook, comment ebook in the chat as well. And if you're watching live and you've read the ebook, comment ebook. If you have questions on that, I would love to know what your questions are and what you thought about the ebook. So awesome. I'm so glad you guys have got a chance to read that. What do you guys think of it? I'm curious to know, what did you think of it? What was the most insightful thing? Did it speak to you? Did it feel like this is, like really what you're wanting? This is kind of how your life is. You're ready for a change. So for me, it was having a bookkeeping business was so impactful for our family. It really changed our lives and let us do things that we never thought we were actually going to do. It was like goals that we had for ourselves in the future, but we didn't really know if we were ever going to accomplish them. And then once we started our bookkeeping business, we started to accomplish all of those goals in a very short time. And just in a couple of year time span, we basically hit like almost every goal that we had put for ourselves that we thought we would have to work our way up the corporate ladder to achieve. Isabel says, do you provide one-on-one coaching? I have the ebook, need to read it. Yes, so in our academy, we do a lot of coaching, a lot of one-on-one opportunities in there. Our academy is a group coaching program, but we have 4 calls every week that last an average of 2 to 3 hours at a time. And during those time spans, that'd be like 2, 4, 6, 8, 8 to 12 hours a week, where we have coaches on call and you can actually request private one-on-one breakout rooms to be able to share your screen and get actual coaching from our team on helping you grow your business, helping you complete the work for your clients. So we do have a lot of elements of one-on-one coaching built into our program. So it really helps you guys have success much easier. So when I started my business, I didn't have a coach. I learned everything on my own, and a lot of trial and error, a lot of extra time spent figuring it out. And what I like to do for you guys is help you save time so that you can get to success a lot faster and be able to use that extra time to spend with your kids, because we all know that they grow up really fast and we all want to spend as much time with them when they're little as possible. Heather says, ready for a change from my 9 to 5. Yes, absolutely. You will be surprised at how freeing it is to have a business where you don't have to punch a clock. You don't have to, build in times to go to the bathroom. You can just eat lunch whenever you want to eat lunch. And if you want to go to the zoo on Tuesday and then work a couple hours in the evening after the kids go to sleep, that's what you get to do with your business. Super, super flexible, amazing benefits, especially for parents with young kids at home. And Sierra is ready to spend more time with her daughter and family. Yes, absolutely. That's what it's all about. That was the number one reason I started my bookkeeping business, and it has been an incredible opportunity for us to be able to do that. Not only do I get to spend more time with my kids, but I actually get to homeschool them as well, which is really awesome and really fun. And I was able to, nurse my twins for 2 solid years without having to worry about, pumping or anything like that. So it was really great to be able to have my bookkeeping business during that time also. Lee says, this program seems genuine, unlike some of the other work from home options. I'm excited to get going. I miss seeing my kids and my husband. Oh, I can feel that through this Zoom room for sure, Lee. It's so amazing. We are really genuine. We really want to help people build a business. And the great thing about building a bookkeeping business is that it is sustainable. It's not like selling a product. When I was younger, before I had my 3rd child, when my first 2 were little, I looked for something like this for years, trying to figure it out, so I tried to sell Mary Kay and Discovery Toys and all these other things. And it's nothing, growing a bookkeeping business is nothing like trying to sell a product. Every single business out there needs bookkeeping. Whether they hire a bookkeeper or they try to do it themselves, they have to have bookkeeping. They can't file their taxes. They can't get loans. They can't understand what's going on in their business without having their bookkeeping done. So with that being said, there's like 32 million people in the US alone that need a bookkeeper. So what's great about it is, number one, you don't have to sell yourself because people need it so much. All you have to do is let them know that this is what you're doing, and they, clients come. So you don't have to be a great salesman to be good at growing a bookkeeping business. I grew my business with my 6-month-old on my hip. I took her to networking meetings and I just met other business owners and I just said, hey, this is what I do. Do you need help? Here are my packages. And it slowly just grew from there. And I wouldn't even say slowly, because when I first launched my business, it was at the mid-May or end of May of 2015. And I knew, working at a CPA office, and I did the bookkeeping there, I saw what they billed them and I knew how long it took me to get it done. So I knew I only needed 2 or 3 clients. If I quit my job, pick up 2 or 3 clients, I'd be exactly where I was, but be able to be home all the time instead of paying somebody else to take care of my newborn. And so I was just aiming to get a couple of clients. So I went to a few networking meetings and things like that. And before you knew it, I had those 2 clients right off the bat. And it's, when you're used to budgeting and you're used to having a fixed amount of money on your paycheck, and you've never had control over how much money you bring into the house, and you get that first and your second client and you're like, oh my gosh, like, this is like a big chunk of money all at one time. I never knew that I could do this. It gets really exciting. And so when I realized how easy it was to get some clients, find people that needed this service, then I got really excited and I kept going, because I knew that I wanted to have my husband home too. I was able to see my kids now a lot, but my husband was working 12 hours a day because of the commute and his lunch break and having to stay late sometimes and things like that. So I was like, okay, so next step is I'm going to aim for, like a couple more $1,000s a month so I can cover all of our household bills, and then he won't have to work. And so I actually was able to hit that goal within 7 months. He quit his job on Christmas Eve of 2015. And ever since then, we've all been home together as a family. And we trade off from time to time on who's taking care of the kids and who's doing the work. But for the most part, we get to hang out together a lot. So it was really great. I didn't have to miss seeing the kids. I didn't have to miss my husband, and he didn't have to miss seeing the kids either. And then if we decided we all wanted to go to the zoo, or we all wanted to do something through the week, we could just easily do that. And then we could catch up on work later, or, do it the next day or whatever. So really, really flexible, really awesome, especially if you want to work from home and bring your husband home. So you guys can all be a family together more often. Isabel says, yes, I can attest to this. Launched my business officially 2 years ago. Wish I had this when my girls were little. Awesome. That's great, Isabel. So you've started your business. That is awesome. Tell us a little bit like where you're at in the process and in the journey. But yeah, it's something that I really look back and wish, man, I struggled so much when my teenagers were babies. And I, at that point in time, did not want to sacrifice giving up time with them. So I sacrificed my finances. And so we had a lot of struggles when they were little. Financially, I remember we would get, my husband at the time, he would get paid. I would pay all of our bills and budget. We'd have 2 cents left in our bank account, and we had no more money coming in until the next paycheck. So it was really, really challenging and really difficult. But for me, it was really important for me to be home with my kids and be there with my kids and raise them and be involved and not pay anybody else to. And also with that, like having a career, but then having 2 kids in daycare, it didn't even make sense. We would have been in the same situation had I put them in daycare. So it was really nice to be able to stay home with them, but we struggled financially. It pretty much ruined my marriage. We ended up losing our car, a house, filing bankruptcy, everything. So it was really stressful. So then the second time around, when I got remarried and we decided to have another baby, and then I had this baby and I was working this job, I was like, oh my gosh, this is happening again. I don't know what to do. I don't want to go back to being broke. That was like a terrible way to live, but I just could not stand to have somebody else raise my baby. I always wanted to be a mom. And so it was really important to me to be able to be there. And so that's when I said, okay, enough is enough. I am going to just start my own business. Luckily, I had finally had enough experience that I felt like I can do this. And then when I went out and started my business, I realized a lot of that experience didn't even matter, because I learned so much just by doing my business, and a lot through trial and error, a lot through like research and reading things and Googling things and stuff like that. But what I realized more than anything is that this business is so replicable. Like you guys can just step in and do exactly what I did and learn how to do all of this stuff so easily, because it's really not like rocket science. You can learn bookkeeping. 80% of it is literally data entry. Everything comes into QuickBooks and you basically type in the vendor or the customer's name and you classify the category. It's either an income account or an expense account, and you categorize that, you add it. At the end of the month, you match up what's in QuickBooks with the bank statements and make sure they match. That's 80% of what you do. That is data entry. Literally, my teenagers have done this. They've helped me in the business. My husband, who knows nothing about bookkeeping, he helped me in the business and did a lot of data entry for me. And then the 20% of it is higher level accounting skills that we teach you in the course and in the academy. And we show you exactly how to categorize things and exactly how to put the financials together, so you understand how to read them, they're correct, and then your client understands how to read them and can use those financials to go back and get their taxes filed, do some tax planning, go to the bank and get a loan for their business, things like that. So it's a really great business to get into because of the flexibility, because of the extreme profitability. And the one thing that we're definitely going to talk about today, because you don't need very much to actually get started and to run your business, That's why it's so great to do this. And once you learn the basics, you can build on it, and you'll know how to handle each client that comes your way. So it's really, really, really awesome. I'm going to go back to these questions. Let's see. Sierra says, ready to spend more time with my daughter and family. Absolutely. Isabel says, I read that one. Bookkeeping is recession proof. Everyone needs it, right? That is the other point that I was going to make. Thank you for reminding me, Isabel. The other great thing about this, like, for example, if you're trying to sell a product, well, when people are like holding on to their money in times like this, when inflation is happening and the recession is happening, people are going to be less interested in buying products or buying luxury things. So it's going to make it even harder to sell stuff. But if you have offered this service, all of these people going into the recession, they're going to need their financials. If there comes another round of loans, like the EIDL loan and the PPP loan and all that stuff that happened when COVID was around, if something like that comes about and is available again to help business owners get through the recession, they're going to have financials. And anyone that's going to be, especially if they're a struggling business during this time and they need to go out and get some capital, get some loans, they have to have financials. It's going to be even more important for people to tax plan right now as well. So again, when we go into the recession or there's something bad going on in the economy, people that have bookkeeping and accounting businesses actually get swamped. They actually get busier and their businesses grow. It happened to all my students during COVID. All of them, their businesses exploded. I'm talking exploded like Anne and Vanessa. They have like $300,000 businesses now. And they've only been in business for like maybe a little bit less than 3 years. So really awesome. Now, of course, if you don't want to take your business that big, the other great thing about a bookkeeping business is that you can keep it small. You can keep it part-time, whatever suits your schedule. If you've got a growing family or little kids right now, and you just want to make, $5,000 a month so you can work 5 hours a week or whatever that is, you can definitely do that. And if you want to keep growing it and build a team, you can do that too. There's a lot of flexibility with bookkeeping business, especially great in times of recession. Sierra says, is there a better time of year to start your business? I don't really think there's necessarily like a better time per se, but there are great times where lots of clients come out of the woodwork. Right now, coming into September and October, there's some tax deadlines, September 15th, and some tax deadlines for October 15th. So there's going to be a lot of people right now scrambling to get their books done so that they can get their taxes done for these two upcoming deadlines. And then you'll have this same mad rush for people in like January, February, March, so that they can get their taxes done by April. So I would say if there's any time that's going to be the best for you to find clients, probably those months. But really, it's a great time to start it at any point in time because people are always looking for bookkeepers, and they're always looking to get organized and have clear financials. Let's see, do we get a certification or a QuickBooks certification afterwards? Yeah, if you go through our academy, we don't have an actual certification in our academy. We're actually working on one right now as well, but you can get QuickBooks certified, and that will give you a QuickBooks certification. So you don't actually need any kind of certifications in the US, Canada, or the UK to actually do bookkeeping or even taxes. The only places that I know of where you actually have to have a certification is New Zealand and Australia. They have requirements for people. So, all of our students have gotten clients, and some of them, I say it's like 50-50 that they actually go through the QuickBooks online certification. And most of them don't do it. So that is an option. You can go through that if you'd like. It's a nice little badge that you can put on your website, and sometimes people actually get clients because they are listed on the QuickBooks Pro Advisor certification page, and they can sometimes get clients that way, but you don't have to do that to get clients. Sierra says, what is the bare minimum you need to start a business? Great question. That's actually what I want to talk about today. So what you need before launching your business. So what's really, really great about the bookkeeping industry, if you Google top 3 most profitable businesses that you can start, there's a Forbes.com article that says bookkeeping and accounting firm is in the top 3 of most profitable businesses with the least amount of overhead. So with that being said, you need very, very little to actually start your business. So I'm going to just open up here a document, and I want to just show you guys a few things that you're going to need to start your business. That way you guys can see a little bit of a visual here. So let me share my screen. Okay, so the first thing that you're going to need to start your business is you're going to have to get an LLC. An LLC is an important thing to do for your business because it protects you from any liability. It keeps your business separated from your personal in terms of liability. For example, if someone were to sue you, happens very rarely. I rarely hear about it, but it can happen. So it's great to have an LLC. Now, you can do this on your own through the Secretary of State website for the state that you live in. And you have to pay the state fees. So those state fees range from $50, a one-time $50 fee, I believe up to, I think the highest is an $800 annual fee if you live in like California or New York. So this is all state dependent. When I first started my LLC, it was in Missouri, and Missouri had a $50 fee to set up your LLC, and it was a one-time thing. You never had to pay it again. So depending on your state, you'll need that. So an LLC is great to start with. Then what you want to do is you want to register your domain name. So this will be like for us, stayatHomeBookkeeper.com is our website. So we registered stayatHomeBookkeeper.com as our domain name. And you can do that through the GoDaddy website. By the way, all of this stuff is inside our program, inside our course, and we'll walk you through exactly how to do all of this. The domain name, it can range anywhere from like a couple dollars. So maybe like $2, we'll say, I'm going to put this on here, $50 to $800, depending on the state. The domain name can run anywhere from like $2 to $15 per year. If it's any higher than that, you probably just want to pick a different domain name because you can get these really, really, really cheap. So you've got like your domain name. Once you get your domain name, then you can set up your email address. And the email addresses range from $6 to $12 per month. And this would be like usually per year. This could be a one-time or annual fee. So $6 to $12 per month, because you really want to get an email address that is registered to your business. So don't use like a Gmail, like Tiffani Higgins at Gmail. You want to use like Tiffani Higgins at stayatHomeBookkeeper.com, something like that. So that way it shows, you're professional, you actually have like a separate business thing. It also helps with your LLC and having like that liability separate, keeping all of your business under one and your personal stuff separate. So an email address, as you can see, very cheap, $6 to $12 a month is all it takes for an email address. And then from there, you get QuickBooks online accountant version. This is free. You don't have to pay anything for that. That's what you're going to use to do all your clients' books. That's totally free. You're going to need Excel. When you get a new client, you'll need Microsoft Excel to be able to potentially import some of the transactions into QuickBooks if they don't automatically come in when you connect their bank accounts to the QuickBooks program. So most people, I'm going to say most people probably have Excel. So I'm just going to mark that down as free because you probably already have it. You need internet. I'm going to say free because most of you probably already have internet as well. And then you need some kind of computer or laptop, or even you can even get started with a Chromebook. I'm also going to put that on free as well because I'm going to guess that most people already even have that. And if not, obviously you can change these, but these are really the basic things that you need to get started. So like, it's so inexpensive to get started with your bookkeeping business. Once you get your first client, you're going to need what's called errors and omissions insurance. And this ranges anywhere from $20 to $30 per month when you get started. However, you don't need this until you get your first client. So this is not a cost that you would have to incur until you have your first client. So, and just to give you an idea, let's see. Just to give you an idea, the average monthly rate per client is around $500 per month per client. I'm going to say also the minimum monthly rate that most of our students charge and that I recommend is $300 per month per client. So as you can see, if you add all this stuff up, one client, even with the insurance, one client pays for every single expense that you have in your business. So it's really, really awesome because you're going to be profitable. You're going to be making money and moving money from your business account into your personal account that you can use to pay your bills personally, even after you get your first client, which is what I love the most about this, because you guys can start benefiting from your bookkeeping business and starting to change your life literally from the first client. It is really awesome. And a lot of times when you get a client that's paying you $300 or $500 per month, they are usually behind on their books, which then you get back work or cleanup work for that client. And that can range anywhere from I'd say 500 is super low, but like $500 to $2,500 or more. I've seen students charge $5,000 to $8,000 for cleanup work. So on average, I'd say it's probably around $1,500 to $2,000 per client that you get when they come on board and they have maybe a year or 2 years that they haven't done their bookkeeping that they need to get caught up on. So incredibly profitable, extremely profitable for you guys to be able to do this, to be able to have a business and really quickly see the effects of your hard work on growing this business and being able to dramatically change your life. So, depending on how much money that you currently have coming in, a $2,500 all-in-one lump sum payment from a brand new client could really change your life, could really change it. So I'm going to stop sharing real quick. Let me know, what do you guys think about that? Oh, let's see. I'm gonna go back up and see what questions I left off on. So I answered Sierra's question about the bare minimum to start. Isabel said she started the Izzy Connect to support small businesses. So you're working in various industries and different stages. You love startups. Okay, awesome. So you're an online business manager, an OBM, but offer other services as well. Great idea. You want to add bookkeeping as a service to your current client base. I love that. I absolutely love that. So one of the things that I always tell people that do OBM work or they're virtual assistants, they do anything else for business owners, this is an amazing thing to add because bookkeeping is a skill that people look at with a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess prestige. It's really important to them, and it's their finances, right? It's everything about their business. So it's really, really important to them, which means that's why we can charge what we do because it's very valuable. It's very valuable to them. And oftentimes it's one of the most valuable things that someone can do for someone in a business. I would say maybe the only other thing you could charge more for is marketing. Growing the client base. So it's really awesome if you already work with business owners in some respect to be able to add bookkeeping services to your service offering. You can really double or triple the revenue from your current client base just by simply offering bookkeeping. So that's such a great idea, Isabel. Let's see. Malik said, I finished my first funnel, sent the secret sign up link. Oh, okay. I'll have to check that out, Malik. Carol says, when we had our trucking business, I was always one of those racing for the 9/15 and the 10/15 deadlines after filing extensions in March and April. Yes, absolutely. Any of you that have ever run your own business before or worked for a small business owner, you're likely going to totally understand this, how they are always scrambling at the end to get their books together. And you know why? Because they don't focus on it, because they are busy focusing on things that drive their revenue and drive their profit. So bookkeeping becomes an afterthought. And it's really important for business owners to get it done, but because it doesn't drive revenue and it doesn't drive profit, they push it off. Oh, I'll deal with that later. I'll deal with that later. And that's why they need you. They need bookkeepers to come in and help them stay on top of this stuff so they don't have to scramble at the end of the day. Some of my most successful students had businesses in the past or worked for small business owners. Then they saw them doing this. They understood the pain that business owners went through, and they were able to speak to other business owners about that. So if you really can understand what they go through when they're trying to run their business, and that they push those books off, and you can help them understand, hey, we don't have to go through this every tax season, every year. We can keep your books up to date every single month. So we can just like slide right into home base on tax season and get your taxes done without any struggle at all. A lot of them really like that and will really go for that. Lee says, what about an iPad? Honestly, I don't have any kind of computer. iPad, let's see. An iPad, you might be able to do it on an iPad if you go through Chrome and then access QuickBooks online. You're probably going to run into some difficulties, but quite honestly, you could go to the library for the few things that you need to do that you can't do on your iPad. You could go to the library and utilize their computer until you get a couple of clients and you want to buy yourself a computer. Once you get some clients and you have a computer at home, you're probably going to want to get two screens. I have two screens going, and it's so nice to have QuickBooks up on one screen and like maybe their bank account up on the other, so you can look back and forth. So there's a lot of different things that you can invest in as you grow your business that make it really efficient, so that you can, really maximize the time that you're in here working, so that you can get out of the office and go hang out with your kids. But you can definitely get started with an iPad. Sierra says, what is cleanup work, and do you teach how to do the cleanup? And I think Carmela said that. It kind of cuts off your guys' names, so I'm sorry if I don't say everyone's names. So cleanup work, and I think I may have described this, but I'm going to answer it again just in case you need more clarity. Cleanup work is when you get a new client. Let's say you guys find a client that needs their taxes done for 2021, and the deadline is September 15th of this year, because they filed an extension. So what you have to do is you have to go back and do all of their bookkeeping for 2021, and then all of their bookkeeping from January to August of 2022. That's called cleanup work, because your client comes to you and he's not ready for you to just start his bookkeeping as of today and moving forward. He needs you to go back to the beginning of the year in which he did not file his tax return. And then you would do all of the cleanup work and all of the bookkeeping from that point on. Now, it may sound a little overwhelming, but it's not. And let me tell you what's so awesome about cleanup work. Cleanup work is still a very valuable service, and you can still charge a lot for it. Like I said, most of my students make anywhere from like $1,500 to $2,500 per client on cleanup work. Some of them I've even seen charge up to like $8,000. Vanessa, who is our coach, she's a quoting coach in our program. She's a student that went through the program, and she got cleanup job for $75,000. It was a business that had like 5 to 8 years of back work to do and tax returns, and she learned how to do tax returns and was able to charge $75,000 for this. She actually runs our coaching calls on quoting specifically. So if you want to learn how to quote clients from the best, join our academy and you get to work with Vanessa, and she shows you how to do that. But so for example, the great thing about the cleanup jobs is you get a lump sum, but when you do an entire year at once, you can speed through it so efficiently and so fast that most people make $200 to $300 per hour doing the cleanup work. It's amazing. And we show you how to quote everything. We show you how to make a fixed price, so that way you can give it to the client. Here's the price of the cleanup. They agree to it. You come back and you just do all the work in one sitting. And we show you how to do it really efficiently. So you end up making like $200 to $300 an hour on it. It's fantastic. It's a really great way to understand their business and learn the whole process as well. And in our program, in our bookkeeping course, we have a tutorial on exactly how to do cleanup work. It shows you from start to finish how to do an entire year's worth of books. It's actually my business. When I had my bookkeeping business, it walks you through doing the bookkeeping for my business. You guys can see the actual money that I made, the actual deposits that hit my bank account and everything. And I walk you through doing the whole cleanup. And we also have a lot of different trainings and tutorials in the bookkeeping course that show you how to do cleanup jobs, how to do month-to-month work and things like that. And now in our academy, we help walk you through, hold your hand when you have a client that needs cleanup work and you've never done it before. You can schedule breakout rooms, private breakout rooms with our team and work one-on-one to learn how to do all of that work with someone efficiently and be able to make that $200 and $300 per hour and not have to guess or figure out anything on your own or spend any hours and hours Googling stuff to just try to figure it out. So that's what this great thing is about our academy, is we show you how to do all of that, streamline it and get help. So that way you can become a pro really fast and make a lot of money so you can get back to hanging out with your kids. Isabel says, this is great. You are so easy to connect with. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm just a mom like you guys, and I want the same thing that everybody here wants. You want to have more of an impact on your family. You want to be around. You want to, you want your kids to be involved. You want to be present with your kids. You want to do things with them. You want to be an awesome mom. So do I. That's all I want to. And I'm excited to be able to, I feel lucky enough to have thought of this idea to be able to help you guys follow in my footsteps and get to live the life that I've gotten to live, because it's been pretty incredible to have a bookkeeping business and to be around as I've grown. Like, for those of you that don't know, I have 5 kids. The first 2 were from my first marriage. They're teenagers now. And then when I had my 3rd child, that's when I started my bookkeeping business, because I didn't want to suffer financially. And I knew I didn't want to leave her with a sitter. And so, but during that whole process, I had 2 more kids. I had twins while I had my bookkeeping business. That was such a blessing when I was pregnant, going through a twin pregnancy in my mid-30s. And I had to go to the doctor a lot just for checkups and things. And having my business during that time was really important. I had to take a lot of naps. I had to rest a lot. And it was really great to have my business. And then, of course, I was able to nurse the twins for 2 solid years. Thanks to my bookkeeping business, I was able to have the time flexibility to do that. But I also was able to have the funds to hire a postpartum doula who helped me learn to breastfeed my kids, my twins, because I really wasn't very successful with my first 3 kids. And then from there, my bookkeeping business also allowed us to move into a bigger house when our family grew, a house that had a pool and a tennis court, which was awesome. And then we were also able to homeschool all 5 of our kids. And we've been doing that for years now. So my bookkeeping business has given me so much freedom to be able to live a life that I would have never thought I could have done, and that I definitely couldn't have done if we were all in a corporate job. So, and fast forward to today, I now have a chef that comes and cooks for us. I have a personal assistant that comes to my house and helps me run the house and helps me with the business. And I even have somebody that comes and cleans every day. So, it's endless what you can do. If you just have to start. You just have to start somewhere, and you have to decide, what do I want my life to look like in 6 months? And then you have to keep making decisions that work you towards that future. And then when you get to that spot, then you can say, okay, what do I want next? What do I want to work my life towards next? And that's the beauty of having your own business, is that you can really unlock those secrets of success and be able to control your future, which I love. Because in a job, you can work really, really hard sometimes, and you don't necessarily get a payoff. So it's great when you're in a business, because your hard work turns into more money. So if you want to work a little bit extra hard, then you can make more money. You can add more time to your marketing and you make more money. Whereas that doesn't always happen in a corporate job. So thank you, Isabella. I really appreciate that. Sierra says, is it a good idea to partner with an accountant? Yes. So in our bookkeeping course and in our academy, we have a roadmap to marketing. And one of those things in there is the power of partnering with a tax specialist. So not just any old accountant, but you're going to want to partner with someone who does taxes so that you have a connection for your clients, because that one of the main reasons why they need bookkeeping is because they have to get their taxes done and they can't do tax filings without their bookkeeping. So partnering with a tax person, specifically one that may not want to do bookkeeping, or they're too busy to do bookkeeping, or they've maxed out on taking on their bookkeeping clients because they don't know how to grow a team, which is what we teach you how to do in the inner circle. They're perfect people to partner with. If you can get in good with one or two accountants, you won't even need to do marketing, because they will send clients to you left and right. So it's always worth developing a great relationship with those people. And we have templates in our bookkeeping course on exactly what emails to send out to the accountants to start forming a partnership. And then we do a lot of coaching, and we have endless calls with you on how to talk to these accountants and how to arrange the partnership and the referral arrangement and all that stuff. So great question. Isabel says, same question. Do you partner with accountants, CPAs for taxes for your clients? Yes. And you have a wedding to pay for your youngest daughter. Awesome. Well, congratulations that your daughter's getting married. That is fun and fantastic. And yes, you could pay for that wedding with all of your cleanup jobs. That is awesome. Carmela says, how much do you teach in depth in the QuickBooks bookkeeping DIY program? Will we know what to do to start to finish if we get a client, or is it just how to do an LLC? So the bookkeeping DIY course is very in depth, and it'll walk you through what you need to know for basic terminology, basic skill sets, and it shows you what month to month looks like for a bookkeeping business. Now, if you have specific questions in specific industries, or you just know that you're going to need a little bit more guidance and help, and you want someone to hold your hand, walk you through the process with your first few clients, you're going to want to consider the the academy where we do the coaching. I'm going to put a link in here for you guys to book a call with us. There's the link to book a strategy session. If you're watching online, I'll drop that link in here as well. Do that right now. So you guys can book a call with our team if you want to talk about joining the academy and what the difference is between the DIY course and our bookkeeper academy. But basically, you can only put so much information in a course, and our course is designed specifically to help you guys take action without the overwhelm. But there's a million questions that could come up when you have clients and when you run a bookkeeping business, and you can't ever know all of it. It's impossible to know everything with accounting and bookkeeping and taxes change all the time. And that sometimes affects the bookkeeping. So you can't ever know everything. So there's going to be things that you're going to need to look up. And what the academy does is we streamline that process for you. So all of our coaches in there are growing successful bookkeeping businesses right now. They're up to date on all of the laws and the strategies, and they can help you answer any random question that comes up that may or may not be answered in the course. So the bookkeeping course does provide a pretty robust roadmap, but if you want to know that every question that you come across is going to be something that you can get help with or that is covered, then you'll want to check out the Bookkeeper Academy. So please feel free to book a free call with us, guys. We'd love to chat with you. We'll go over what your goals are for your family, kind of lay out a roadmap of what would it look like if you started a business, a bookkeeping business, what would it look like for your family based on your goals? And then we can help you determine which program is going to be the best fit for you. So feel free to book a free call. All right. And then Kelsey says, do you have a guide as to what services are generally provided within the fee we charge? Yes, absolutely. So we have in the bookkeeping course, we have a full lesson on quoting. And there is a flow chart in there that shows you exactly what you need to ask your clients and then how to take those answers and formulate a quote and a proposal for them. So we have this down into packages. So it's very easy for you guys to quote businesses while you're on the phone and be able to get them on as clients. So we do have a guide as to that. And if you join the Academy, we also have a quoting tool that you can use where you can actually input the answers as they're giving them to you, and it spits out a price for you. So you know that you're quoting your clients accurately using that quoting tool, which is awesome. And then we show you, these are the services that you would provide for that particular price point. And then if you have additional services that your client may want, then you would charge extra for those. Sorry, I lost my train of thought because they started vacuuming and I'm like, can you guys hear it? It's so loud in my office. So yes, we tell you exactly when you quote what services should be covered under that. And if your client wants more, how to upgrade them. Like, let's say they want help with payroll, we show you how to do that. They want help with sales tax returns, we show you how to do that. So there's a few extra things that you can do for clients that would be an extra value add, and you would make extra money for it. And we show you how to quote that and how to create the boundaries around this service is included in this package, but this service you're requesting is not. So let's bump up your package. So great question. Emily says, how did you find time when the babies were newborns? Evenings, naps. I have a 17-month-old and expecting another baby in October. Yes, great question. So the best thing to do with babies is, okay, a couple different things. So how I did it when they were little is for a while, my husband and I had split shifts. So when they were first born, he would stay up until 3 a.m. I would go to sleep from 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. and he would stay up with the babies. And this is when they weren't sleeping through the night. And then I would get up at 3 a.m., 3 to 9 or whatever, and have the babies. So during that time, one of them would sleep and the other one would want to nurse. And so I had one of those, my breast friend pillow, and I would put it around me on my chair here, and I would have the babies, sometimes both of them on here, and I would be nursing them and I would be typing like this and I'd be doing my work. So sometimes I did it that way. But the way that I arranged it is, at first I worked with my 6-month-old at home. So it was challenging because I wanted to give her attention. And at that point in time, my husband was still working 12-hour days. So I did what I could during the day. And then when he got home, he wanted quality time with her. So then I would take an hour or 2 hours at night, and I would go just try to hammer through some stuff really fast. The cool thing about it when you're growing your business is 80 to 90% of your marketing can be done just with your phone. So if you're sitting on the couch or you're hanging out with your toddler and they're playing with toys in the room, or they're watching their cartoons or something like that, you can work on your phone and do a lot of the marketing right from your phone. So that's really nice. But what I always tell people, when you have kids, every day is different and you just kind of have to go with the flow. Just get up in the morning, set a target. What do you want to get accomplished today? And do that. So number one thing is, I put off things that didn't grow my business. So I didn't clean first. I didn't get up in the morning and clean. I got up in the morning and I did my marketing, and then I cleaned later. Or my husband helped clean when he got home. But my husband and I were on the same page because I knew after the beginning that this was going to be something that was going to be able to retire him, basically. So he was cool with coming home after his 12-hour day and cleaning up after I cooked dinner and hanging out and giving Boston, our third child, a bath, and helping the older two with their homework, because I needed to go and do some work in the evening. So you really just kind of juggle it. And I'll tell you, for us, our schedule changed probably from week to week all the time. But it's just you got to have a game plan. I don't even like to use the term schedule, because with little babies and having one on the way, it's hard to stick with the schedule, but having some things that you want to accomplish in that day and making sure you put those things first. There's always going to be rooms to clean. There's always going to be dishes to do. So, putting your business and your marketing first, because there is an end to the means, or means to the end with that, because you'll actually be able to reach a goal with that. The cleaning is something that's going to be there every day, type of thing. So hopefully that helps a little bit. But yeah, just wherever you can fit it in. And then if you see a light at the end of the tunnel, like for example, if you're working towards growing your business so that you can leave a job or retire your husband, then you've got that to look forward to. And then of course, in 7 months of kind of juggling like that, then when my husband came home, it was a total game changer. Like he was home all the time. So like I could work totally focused for like a couple hours in the morning while he took Boston for a walk. And then we had the whole rest of the day to hang out together. So, it just depends on what your goals are and you hit those milestones, but there's going to be like ups and downs, like it ebbs and flows with like, your schedule and the difficulty juggling it all. So, but in the beginning, that's just kind of what you got to do is just, you got to put it first. You got to push off things that aren't going to help you get to that goal, even though it may be hard to do. Great question though. And then do you have someone that can help with niching? So, yes, absolutely. In our academy, we actually have quite a few people that specialize in different industries. So if you want like e-commerce or things like that, we have people that specialize in those things and can help you with that. My motto on niching is that you don't necessarily want to do it in the beginning until you know what type of client you like to work with. So I always say, do your marketing, look for small businesses, have a generalist practice at first. Then if you notice, oh, I'm getting a lot of insurance agents, I really like working with insurance agents, then you can start targeting insurance agents when you're doing your marketing. But in the beginning, I usually tell people that it's not really a great idea to niche because you're not necessarily going to know who you like working with. Great question though. For house stuff while growing your business, set a timer for 15 minutes and do what you can in those 15 minutes and then get back to your business. Yeah, I like that. I like that. The timer thing is really great for staying focused, rushing through, getting something done really fast and then stop because yeah, like Isabel said, you can probably clean all day and do laundry all day if you really wanted to, because it's like never ending. So yeah, you got to put your business first. You got to put the marketing first because that's what really moves the needle. And we help with all of that, of course, in the academy. Okay, so I answered those questions. Great. Yes, Tiffani Ware told you that yesterday. Awesome. Yep. Awesome advice. Set the timer. Yep. I love it. Megan on Facebook says, very interested in doing this. One hesitation I have is messing up someone's financials. My OCD kicks in and I worry about making a mistake for them. I'm sure error happens, but is it probable that they won't? Not sure if I'm asking that correctly. Is it pretty error proof? In my current job, I'm constantly double checking everything is done correctly and wondering how bad my OCD will kick in and or constantly maybe worrying about it if I've done their financials correctly. Great question, Megan. Interesting. So yeah, so one thing that's really great with bookkeeping is that there are checks and balances built in. So you have to make both sides equal of the accounting equation, and the software really does it for you. If you do make a mistake when you categorize something, we show you how to review your client's books so that you can catch those mistakes before you actually send the financials out to the business. We also offer a feature in our academy called Financial Statement Review, and you can submit every client for a review, and we'll give you a 15 to 45-minute video back explaining exactly what you did, if there was anything that needs changed, and telling you all the things that you did right in the books. So that's always great. We also show you in the course and in the academy exactly what you're looking for so that you know how to review them and you know that they're correct. And then if you have questions, you're always going to have questions for your client because you're not going to be able to read their mind. So this will help you understand what questions am I going to need to ask my client, because then you'll know this might not be correct. I need to ask my client this so then I can go back and fix it. And we show you how to do all of that as well. So absolutely. And then in our academy too, when we have these Zoom calls where you can get private breakout rooms, you can actually share your screen with one of our coaches and say, hey, did I do this right? Is this correct? And that really helps build your confidence. You do that 3 or 4 times and you've got this down, and you'll know exactly what to look for with all future clients, and you'll be a pro at it. So of course it's nerve-wracking, just like when you start a job and you're in the training phase. It's always a little overwhelming and nerve-wracking. And that's why we built out the academy, so that way we can help you guys move past that. and you're not alone. You don't have to do it alone. You don't have to guess and feel unsure about things. You can walk away from our Zoom call feeling really confident that you've done a great job for your client. And then you can get reviews from your clients and then referrals, and then you don't have to do marketing at all, which is awesome. All right, so I would love for you guys all to book a call with our team. We'd love to chat with you, see if this is something that's going to work for your family, help you determine what program is going to be the best fit for you. And Isabel says, you have someone who works with a creative industry. I am going to set up a call with you guys. Yeah, I think we have quite a few people that work in e-commerce with Etsy stores, things like that. So there's a lot of people in there that do different various industries like that. Absolutely. So yes, please book a call with us. We would love to chat with you guys. Thank you for tuning in. You guys all had amazing questions. Put in the chat on a scale of 1 to 10, how helpful was this live? With 10 being, this was awesome. I can't wait to join the Academy. I'm so excited. And so let me know how you guys feel about it. 10, 11. Oh, thanks, Vivian. Thank you. 11, 10, 10, 10. Great. Awesome. Thank you guys. I'm so glad this was helpful. I really look forward to seeing you guys all again next week. I do this every Tuesday at 11. If you have more questions, but please book a call. Our team would love to chat with you. And I hope you guys all have an amazing day and an amazing week, and excited for you to start this journey. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.